up, guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 1986 Volkswagen Quantum Synchro. Up front is a 2.2-liter inline 5, and down below is a 5-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Quantum because it's super weird. It's an 80s car, and I love featuring those here. But it is also an all-wheel drive wagon. I am out in the middle of rural Minnesota today on some dirt roads that are a little bit mushy, and so we're gonna have some fun in the Quantum. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 2.2-liter inline 5. Well, that was reserved for the wagon at its base. You could only get the wagons with the inline 5. They did sell a Quantum sedan, and you could get that with the 1.7-liter Volkswagen engine that we're very familiar with in a lot of their other products, like the Rabbit. But the wagon only got the inline 5, and yes, this does have some exhaust work done to it, and it sounds pretty great, even though it only makes about 110 horsepower. Like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed manual transmission. It feels wonderful. It shifts and clicks into gear like I want it to do. It feels lovely. It has a decently close ratio, which is what I want out here in this soupy mess of a back road, and it's been incredibly enjoyable. Last but not least, however, this is all-wheel drive, and we have some really interesting settings that go with that, and I'm excited to share that with you later on. But how does it feel to drive the Volkswagen Quantum Synchro? It's a lot of fun. Now, on the road, it kind of drives like any other wagon from the era. Of course, you do get that really cool signature grumble from the 5-cylinder. It sounds like half a V10 because, well, it is. And like I said, the drivability is great, shifter feels great, and it's just such a pleasure to drive. Yeah, baby! Oh, yeah. It plays nice on the pavement. It plays nice on the pavement. But what if we took that pavement away? Oh, it plays nicer. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 2 gauges. Off to the left is my speedometer. Off to the right is my tachometer. I also get fuel and coolant temperature shoved within that, and I get some pretty interesting warning lights as well. On the steering wheel, we have 4 horn buttons, which still work, but that's it. No airbag. This was still pre-airbag. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, some shelving and whatnot, and moving on to the door, we just have the crank for the window and latch to get in and out. Moving into the center, we do have our Volkswagen cassette player, as well as the radio, and our very simple climate controls. Off to the left is the fan speed, in the center is where to send it, and down below is the temperature. We also have our rear defrost and hazard switch down below this, and then we have just solid dashboard. It says Quantum off to the right, really like that. But then we have our cassette holders down below, so you can hold up to 5 of your favorite cassette tapes at the ready. But then we have some 4-wheel drive options. So you pull it out once, and this will lock the rear differential. Pull it out twice, and it'll lock the rear and center differential. Very, very cool, and some awesome rallying prowess that doesn't quite make sense in this vehicle, and I'll talk about that more in the final thoughts segment. Then we do have an ashtray and cigarette lighter, and the shifter. The shifter is pretty basic. It's not anything too interesting or unique. However, like I said, it feels wonderful, so I don't have any complaints about it. Then we do get the handbrake, and there are no factory cup holders here in the 86 Quantum, so unfortunately yet very predictably, it fails the big friggin' bottle test. The seats are actually really comfortable, although as you'll notice if you go back and watch me doing the engine pull, it won't stay still, so I just keep on moving, and it's really unsettling. I know that's not like a factory thing, but I still don't like it. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 1986 Volkswagen Quantum Synchro, And a couple of things to note. First of all, you do have that raised headline for the Wagon. That was a big drawing point towards the Wagon. The seats are nice and comfortable. They're decently bouncy and definitely what I would expect out of an 80s car. And this is a Volkswagen with actual rear seat space. In this era, that wasn't really a thing. The Rabbit, terrible. The Golf that I've driven, the Golf diesel that I drove, I believe around a similar year, terrible. The Volkswagen Bug, terrible. So this is actually good. This was a huge crowning achievement for Volkswagen at the time, so very cool to see that. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Right around the back of the Quantum Synchro. Push it in here and pull up. Pretty simple operation, and you do get tons of space. Like I said, the Quantum was sold in sedan as well, and coupe, but if you wanted the rear seat space, this is what you wanted, and this is exactly what you got, or rear cargo space, I should say. Pardon my French. Nothing really too crazy in terms of amenities. We do have some storage over here, which is nice, just for like the windshield wiper bag and whatnot, so nothing really too crazy, but that is the rear cargo space of a 1986 Volkswagen Quantum Synchro. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I really like the squared off look of the Quantum. I think overall, this is actually a pretty handsome car, and it's so 80s. You know, you get the bigger bumpers. This was sold as the Passat in other markets, and it had a lot smoother bumpers. Well, here in America, we needed bigger, chunky bumpers, and so it got that. But I like the hatchback. You just don't see them a whole lot anymore, and so I love it. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this Volkswagen Quantum Synchro from 1986? Well, I have to say, this has been some of the most fun I've had in a long time. This car absolutely rips off-road, and in these conditions, I'm so happy I'm driving it here today in this style because it just works so well. And that's actually kind of the downfall of this car. You see, the Quantum was announced and released in 1982. Volkswagen wanted to offer larger passenger vehicles. They were well known for their Rabbits and the Beetle as very efficient, little economical cars. They were simple, reliable, and they worked well. They helped define a market here in the US. Well, it was time for them to start to go up market and start offering larger vehicles. Quantum literally means more space, quantity. So they made a bigger vehicle and they marketed it towards moms, station wagon lovers, people who wanted daily drivers that wanted that Volkswagen reliability, something they've built their name off of, but in a bigger way. It didn't sell all that well. There were other better options, and buying a big car from Volkswagen was kind of like buying a half-ton pickup truck from Mini Cooper. It just doesn't make sense, at least in the consumer's mind. So they didn't sell well. And I think that's the biggest shame, because if they would have sold these as hot hatchbacks with a rallying heritage, with that insane all-wheel drive system, with the awesome, lovely drivability, I think they would have sold really, really well. But they didn't do that. They marketed it to the wrong people and didn't have the brand recognition. And so unfortunately, so many people didn't get to experience this. Oh yeah! I might not be going the fastest, but I am certainly having the most fun. Oh boy, am I having the most fun. Oh, huge thank you to Bjorn for letting me take out his Volkswagen Quantum. Huge thank you to Mike for setting up this review. This is just, it's a hoot and a half, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the last day of a 3-week cross-country trip. I'm excited to go home and get in bed for the first time in over half a month. And this is just the perfect send-off. This is just the perfect capstone end point for my journey across the country reviewing cars. This might be one of the best. Oh, yeah. Take care, guys.